If you're a dad and you're trying to do all the things like the wife thing, the career thing, the kids/family thing, on top of trying to make time for yourself so you can build a stronger, leaner, more capable body so you can better serve your family, and you have a goal of getting stronger. What does that mean? Being more physical, right? Being able to do things easier, moving with less aches and pains, losing some body fat so you can be more confident in how you carry yourself. If you have some of those goals, then you're going to need a sustainability plan built in. And that's what I'm going to cover in this video. 4 ways to sustainable strength and fat loss. And these are very straightforward. The first thing that you need is you need a real strategy. And that strategy is going to be broken up into these 3 components. Number 1, you need to have the knowledge on how to build or follow a comprehensive training program that incorporates all the performance mechanisms. I've talked about this in previous videos on, ordinary time versus on mission, focusing on one discipline at a time, performance progression training. You need to know when and how to train for strength endurance, muscle building, maximum strength training, power training. You need to have a real strategy based around those. And that strategy would include, as I mentioned, performance progression training. Within that, we want to make sure we have some kind of recovery mechanisms built in. And those recovery mechanisms, we need to have some kind of retest. We need to know how well you're moving on a daily basis, because every single day you move differently. So if you're getting ready to follow a strength training plan session for the day, you need some kind of assessment, and something that you can do in a matter of minutes on your own without any equipment, so you can assess how you're moving for the day. Then once you do the strength training, the ability to reassess, to establish, am I actually moving better? Am I stronger? So having some kind of retest method in play is essential. The third part of that strategy to lose the body fat, etc., is you need to be able to eat what we call eating for a high performance body, knowing when, where, and how to eat the right amount of protein, making sure everything is supporting your training, not only for health, longevity, yes, but also to trim the body fat that you're looking to drop off. And then having some kind of maintenance plan built in that allows you to, what do we call that, solidifying the gains, right? Because what's one of the biggest challenges for people? They lose the weight and then they gain it back, right? So once we drop that body fat, once we drop the weight, once we build the strength in our strength training plan, we need a method to sustain and maintain those gains that we gained or lost. And the last part of that strategy is you have to have some kind of coach. Some coach that can support you and give you the tools of that strategy. What's the saying? The guy that represents himself in court has a fool for an attorney. I don't know. One of the reasons I think guys don't ask and reach out for help is because I think we're afraid of appearing that we don't have the answers. When we reach out for help, it doesn't make us weak. It doesn't make us, incompetent. It actually makes us smart. But that's something that we have a hard time overcoming. But it is an essential part. Because here's the thing, when you invest into coaching, when you hire a coach to help you, you're not, you're not investing in the strength training plan, the nutrition, though you are. What you're really investing into is you are buying speed. Anytime any of us invest in any kind of service, if I hire a plumber to come out and fix my plumbing, if I have a contractor to come out to build something at my house, I could do it on my own, sure, but how much am I actually going to mess that up? Because that's not my area of expertise. What you're hiring is you're hiring speed, and you're hiring and leveraging the knowledge and the expertise of that person to get you to the end outcome faster than you would on your own. So if you're looking for sustainable progress with your strength and your fat loss efforts, you need a real strategy which would incorporate the training components, the mobility, recovery, test, retest components, the nutrition components, how to eat for a high performance body, and then you would need support, coaching, tools, resources, and a community. Coaching and community would go together. The fourth way to sustainable strength and fat loss efforts is to follow a proven system. So a strategy is rooted as part of a proven system. So the system is the processes, the moving parts, the components. So let's look at it from a strength training perspective. I think for sustainable progress, long-term results, is we need to have some kind of map, some kind of system in place that lets us know when to train particular attributes, when to incorporate swings and get-ups, how long, when to train for the press, the jerk, the snatch, when to incorporate body weight training. This is one of the biggest, probably one of the biggest. People say this stuff all the time on the internet, by the way. I got all these questions today. Lie. But this is a common question that I see pop up in feeds and forums and even conversations that I've had with men that are considering working with us, is being able to do all the things. Like, man, there's so many things to work on. I want to work on, my swing, my get up, but I also want to work on my half body weight press. I might want to do this, the snatch test. I want to work on my push up. Like, we can't work on everything. If everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority. Now, we need to know how to structure this out into a system. And why a system? Because a system is, you can address and fix certain parts of the system. Like if things aren't working well, you can address a part of the system or plug something into that system and it's going to produce the result that you want. Or remove the thing and it will produce the result that you want. Okay, so a system leads to that long-term repeatable progress. Remember, simple, repeatable, consistency. So I recommend 7 levels of training. This sounds long and complicated, but we're working on one piece at a time, as I mentioned. Level 1 would be building a foundation. Deadlift, clean, press, squat, lunge, that kind of thing. The next phase of that training we would call like level 2. The next phase of that training, that's when we can start getting to some of the high skill. We start working on swinging the get up. Then from there you start progressing to the kettlebell snatch. From there you start working on a combination of body weight training and kettlebell work. Then eventually from there you work on to the jerk. So having some kind of systematic approach to incorporating all the things, all the skills, all the components is what's going to lead to lasting long-term progress. Again, because you can't train everything all at once, and the moment that we try to train everything all at once, things become complicated, which is the opposite of simple. And when things are complicated, they're not repeatable. Or at least they're not repeatable long-term. And the more moving parts that we have, we're not really sure where the results are coming from. But when you follow a proven system, you know what part of the system is not working, right? Think about it like you're fixing a car. For whatever reason, you're fixing the car and the brakes aren't working right, or the thing's not starting. You don't scrap and replace the whole car. You replace the part of the system, and what emerges out of that is motion, right? Which is the end result we want from our vehicles. The same thing would go for our physical body. We need to know what components are not working so that we can tweak those components, and what would emerge is your strength and your fat loss efforts. The third way to build in sustainable strength and fat loss efforts, this is something that I don't think a lot of people take advantage of. I know this because I ask for this stuff in our coaching programs and they don't submit them sometimes. Video your training. Gosh, that is so essential. I video every single one of my workouts, every single one. What's the value of videoing? Well, if you don't have access to a coach to have eyes on you like 24/7, even if you're working with a coach in person, maybe you're going to work out, maybe you're going to see a coach 2 or 3 days a week, but on in-between days, you want to work on some other skills. Well, that coach can't be there with you all the time. And so if you're working on technique, maybe you're in like ordinary time-based training and you're working on new skill sets, record those so you can study your skill, critique, see, oh, you know what? I'm feeling this thing in my shoulder. I can see why now. or I can see why, you know, my back is maybe bothering me, or I can see why now the kettlebell's slamming into me when I do the clean. Like, it gives you immediate feedback. Super underrated, underused, undervalued part about building sustainable results. Video that training. Number two, the second part of that video in your training is it keeps you accountable to your practice. Do you have any videos recorded today? No, that means you probably didn't do the training. Right? So it holds you accountable to your practice, which in the end allows you to become a more dependable person because you're doing the thing that you said that you would do. And for me, videoing helps me create content like this. You see my Monday videos, it's just like me working out, but I'm talking on the back end and I'm giving you my thoughts of the day of either of that training or something that I read, just insights. So for me, it gives me content. 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing. When you're, you know, a dad with multiple responsibilities, as all dads have, you need to be as efficient and as effective. Effectiveness comes before efficiency. Being effective with your time as much as possible. And probably the most important thing that we need to know about building in sustainability for our strength fat loss efforts, and I think this is across all areas of life, but this is particular to, you know, your health and fitness, is you need to focus your training on longevity. You need to train for the long haul. So for us, with our students, we take them through ordinary time and on-mission training. And this is where you build skill sets. This is where you focus on practicing versus working out, which is what we do with our students in our ordinary time focused training, right? We go through, you know, periods of, you know, planned training protocols. These are the exact reps that they're doing, exact rest periods, but then we go into moments of ordinary time. And during that ordinary time, we're working on building new skill sets. We're introducing new exercises. Training is more relaxed, if you will. Training is more simple because that simplicity leads to repeatability and long-term consistency. And that long-term consistency is what allows you to maintain, you know, the strength and the fat loss efforts that you've acquired. Another way to train for longevity is focus on building one skill or one discipline at a time. I cannot say how important that aspect is. Again, it lends to that simplicity, repeatability, consistency framework. It's also going to allow you to get injured less. It's not going to get you injured. It's going to help you to avoid potential injuries. When we're trying to do too many things all at one time, that opens us for the potential of maybe getting dinged up, getting injured, tweaking this, tweaking that. But when we address one discipline, one skill at a time, it allows us to laser focus our attention, and we all know that what we focus on grows. But if you're focused on all these different things, again, if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority, it pulls you away from training for longevity. And the last part, I just want to reiterate, ordinary time-based training. All 3 of these, there's a lot of overlap and they all tie together. Building new skill sets, focusing on practice versus working out, building one discipline at a time. All of that leads to longevity, and all of these lead to sustainability and long-term progress. So if you're trying to build a stronger, leaner, and more capable body while trying to do all the other things that you've got going on, you need these 4 things, these 4 ways to that sustainability. You need a real strategy. The second thing you need is a proven system. They go together. So a strategy you find within the system. Okay, once you've got the system established, within the system, you can now start to put the strategy together. So you need a real strategy to follow that incorporates the training, the nutrition, the mobility, the coaching, the community. You need that strategy. The second thing is you need the system. The system is the proven, the methods, the processes, all the components that go into the training. And it's those components that you can tweak one piece at a time, okay, one phase at a time to see the results that you're looking for, and also to how to put them into a long-term process. The third thing you need to do is video your training. That keeps you accountable to the training. It allows you to study and critique your skill sets. Okay, that leads to long-term progress. And then the fourth thing you need to do is you need to focus on training for longevity. Having periods of ordinary time in your training. That allows you to build new skill sets. That allows you to build one discipline at a time. It allows you to get laser focused, because what you focus on grows. If this video helped you out, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more Busy Dad strength training tips.